Greetings. Today we're going to show you how to use the PMAI Facilitator interface. And this new interface is designed to help you manage the experience for the folks to whom you present the Pearson-Marr archetype indicator. And we're going to start with what the screen looks like when you log in for the very first time. And you'll see here that you have a row of buttons across the top, and we default to the individuals. That means the individual folks that you work with. You can put those folks into groups. That's what this button does here. There is an introduction to how to use the interface here, a very brief one, and that's where the link to this video lives. There are guidelines, the ethical guidelines for using the instrument with your clients are found here, and an in-depth help screen is found right here. So as I said, we start with individuals, and what we do is the very first step is to invite our clients. So before we do that, let's look up here in the upper right. We have two very important information boxes. This is under the individual section, a summary of how many people we've invited, how many people are in process taking the assessment, how many people have submitted, that means they completed the assessment, and how many people have had their assessment scored. Over here we have the available unscored PMAI reports. Think of that as your inventory of unused reports. So as a facilitator, you will make your purchase here to buy reports that you'd like to score for your clients. And when you do that, you would just push this Purchase More button, and I would just be able to type in the quantities here, and the system will give you my total. And if I push Purchase Now, it'll take me right to the cart and let me complete my purchase, and I would see those in my inventory. But for now, we're not going to go through that. We're going to go through the first step of using the interface, and that is inviting your clients or your students to take the PMAI. So you can see this section here, and our interface follows this paradigm of clicking the plus button, and now we see the section that we want to work with. This is Add Clients. You can see that I need to add a first name, a last name, an email address. I could even impose a deadline upon which they need to take the assessment, or I hope they complete the assessment. And I can also choose to send my client access to the report immediately upon scoring it. So that just saves one more step for me. If I want them to just get their report right away, I can do that. So let's just add a name here, and the system, of course, is remembering because I've been doing this for a while in preparation for this video. So we'll just do that. I'll just pick one that I'd done before. Here's a first name, a last name, an email address. I'm going to set a deadline here, and I'll say, sure, I want this person to get the report as soon as I score it. A couple of other important buttons here. If I've got a long list of people who I would like to invite, I could import those clients in a CSV file. That's a spreadsheet file. And you could download right here an example of what that file looks like. You can fill it out with all the first and last names and email addresses of all your clients. It could be 50 clients, whatever. I could import that, and now I would see them all in this interface. Or I can just manually do that. I could just add another here and fill this out and just keep doing that until I had as many as I wanted to invite in there. By the way, the Clear Fields button clears everything, allows me to start over. And when I'm ready, I'm going to invite these new clients. So I click on this button here, and the system invites them. By the way, this is what the email looks like that gets sent out by the system to your client. As you can see, there's the Storywell mark on the top. That's where we have all the PMAI assets right now, this new Storywell website. And you can see that the email is labeled that it was sent by your facilitator. In this case, it's Rob Roth. And the email asks the client to respond to your email address, you as the facilitator, if they have any questions. And you can see there's instructions for exactly what they need to do to take it, and a button here, click here to begin. And if they start and stop and come back again, this same link will take them to where they left off on the assessment. So let's get back to the interface. So now you see we exposed a new section that you didn't see before when you first logged in, and it's basically the first step for your clients, which is they are invited. And again, if I click this plus button, I can see, yep, there's the client I invited. There's the due date. Yes, that's still checked. By the way, in this particular stage of their experience, I can adjust their email address. Once they start the PMAI, I will no longer be able to do that. But here I could, just in case we made a typo or something like that. And now you'll see there's an action column here, and this action menu is going to change according to what step we're in. But here in this first step, the invited step, we can see that I could send that client a reminder. Let's say we're getting close to deadline. I want to make sure they take it. I can view the email log of all the emails that the system has sent to them. And in this case, we would just see the invitation. Or I can revoke the assessment. Let's say, I changed my mind. This client's just never going to take it. I can take that out of there and just clean up my account a little bit. So now you've seen what it looks like when you invite one client. So now I'm going to move to another account where I've progressed a little farther in the process. So I'm going to click up here to another account, and now you'll see that the invited section is no longer here because I just had one client. That client started to take the PMAI, and now they've moved to the in process section. And if I open that up, I can see this particular client started it on this date, and I can actually see, if I choose the action menu, I can see the PMAI status. And I can see that on this particular date, they so far answered 5 items of the PMAI. So this is pretty handy if your client gets back to you and says, I don't know what happened, I forgot, did I finish it? And you can say, no, you need to log back in and finish. And the invitation email that they originally got, by the way, they can always click that link and it will take them back to where they left off if they have not completed it. So the system knows where they are. By the way, I can also look, if they filled out the demographic information, I can look at that too. So this particular person didn't answer the residence, but they answered a few of the other demographic questions. So now you've seen what it looks like when one client has moved from invited to the in process section or the in process step. Now let's look at what it looks like when we go to an account that has a few more records, and you'll see a new section has been exposed, and that is assessment submitted. So once again, in this particular scenario, I have 3 clients who I invited who have not taken it. I have 1 client in process, just like we showed you in the last step, but now I have a new section here that's assessment submitted. And what this means is that these clients completed taking the PMAI. They're done. And they got a message saying, thank you very much, you're done. And because they're your client, you can control when and how they get their report. So in this particular example, I did not check send access to report upon scoring. It's not checked yet. But if it was checked, when I go through what I'm going to do right now, which is score it, they would immediately get access. So now, because these folks here have all completed it, the action menu now includes the option to score a core report, score an expanded report, and again, view the email log and the demographic report. So very important. It is in the assessment submitted section or step where you score people's reports. And you choose which report to choose. If you want to learn more about these reports, you can go to storywell.com and read the descriptions. But basically, one is a simple report, and the expanded one is the deepest level that your client can explore to learn about the archetypes active in their life. And by the way, you'll notice that we have a batch function here. And so I can batch the action here by clicking on multiple clients and send access to report on scoring for all of them. I could score all of them as core reports or score all of them as expanded reports. So I would just choose that, process the batch, and whatever I selected would happen. But we're going to save that for a minute. So now let's see an example of an account with all 4 of the steps populated. So here I am in an account now, and I have 6 clients that I invited who have not taken it. I have 1 client who's in process. I have 2 clients who submitted. That means they completed it. And I have now, I scored their reports, and so I open up this final section called scored. So now I can see these 3 clients, I already scored their reports, and there are their reports. There's a core report for this client. This client has a core and an expanded report because I upgraded their core report, which is something you can do. If they take a core report and they decide, boy, I'd like to dive in deeper, you can upgrade it to expanded. They'll have access to both reports, as you can see. And if I choose to, I can send this person access to the report right now. Or I could simply download the report. If I click this button, it downloads it, and I can send that report to my client in whatever way I see fit. Walk into their office and hand it to them, download it and email it to them myself, or you can let the system do that for you. And we think that's the best way to do it, because when they get their information from you, this access to the report, this is what they're going to see. And now I'm going to flip to what a page looks like for your client or any person who has taken the PMAI and who's not a facilitator. They will see in their My Storywell account, they will see their PMAI core report. And this is a core report that was taken on that date. And here's their highest scoring archetypes. And as I scroll down, I'll see all the sections of their report. So this is a new opportunity for your clients and you to read a PMAI report online rather than just as a PDF. However, I can click this button right here and I can download my report as a PDF and read it in a traditional way, print it, or just read it as a PDF online. But this web-based report is a very nice way to read the report, and because it's readable on the phone. So a lot of people are living their lives on their mobile phones, and they will be able to read their report quite nicely on their mobile phone. You will notice that I can find the descriptions to all the archetypes, so your clients can find the descriptions to all their archetypes based on the report level they chose. So it's because I have a core report, I can see the description for the realist, and here is that description. Now you'll notice that on the left here, I have, because I've been testing, I have a couple of PMAI reports that I didn't finish taking. And so the client, if they don't finish it, you can see here, they can always log into their account if they have one and continue taking the assessment. So that's another way for them to do it. I can also upgrade the report to myself as a client. So I could just click here and upgrade it myself for a small fee. So back to the PMAI interface, just want to reiterate that there are a total of 4 steps: invited, in process, assessment submitted, and scored. And these sections only appear if you have clients who are within those steps. That's why here in the beginning, I invited one client, I only see the invited section. In this section, I only have a client in the in process section. So that's all I'm going to see. But when everyone is cranking along and you have various people in various stages, you'll see all of these. Now, if I want to go to my groups, I repeat all these processes exactly the same, except I put people in groups. So here, I could start a new group. Let's just call it today. You could do it by date, by class, by week, by month, whatever you like. And I can add that group. And now within that group called today, I am once again presented with the same interface: add clients. I would then see people in process, I would see people who submitted, and I would see people who had their assessment scored. And the group section is just for your benefit to group clients in a way that makes your account easy to use. There's no group report, it's just a way for you to put people in groups and see them as a group. So instead of dealing with everyone in one long list, you could have people as groups. Let's say you had a class, and this particular semester's class is in this particular group, and you name it that way. And you'll notice that the summary up here will now indicate I have one group. If I go to another one of these accounts where I have various people in various steps, the summary also reflects that. So there's 3 people invited, 1 in process, 5 assessments submitted. I haven't scored any of the reports. And you'll notice in this example, I have purchased some reports. I must have some inventory here of reports before I can score. So if I go here and try to score a report, if I don't have anything up here in my inventory, so to speak, my available unscored reports, the system will say, you need to buy some. So that's your introduction to the Pearson-Marr Archetype Indicator Facilitator interface. If you need to learn more, you can always click on this help section here, which is a pretty deep section that explains everything I just did, but it does it in writing. And if you'd like to see a quick overview of what this looks like, you can go to Using This Interface, which just is a very short summary of how this works. And you'll notice that you could download that particular page too. So that is your PMAI Facilitator interface. We hope you enjoy using it, and we hope you enjoy using the new PMAI assessment. Thanks for joining us.